Hey, you're watching I Love My Job, and I'm Doug Thaker, and we appreciate your viewers. I do anyway. Thank you very, very much. You're watching WMFD-TV. We're going to do just a little different twist tonight on I Love My Job because we've got Jeff Heck with us, who is an attorney at law, personal injury attorney. Jeff, thank you very much for being on I Love My Job.
I'm glad to be here, Doug.
Years of experience, long time.
I've been doing this a while. Yeah, I've been practicing about 25 years, coming up on 26 years, doing a variety of different things. But the last 3 years, some things a little bit different and out of my own. Doing a substantial amount of personal injury practice. I also continue to do, as I always have, some business litigation, some business-to-business civil type law, and then I also do labor and employment law. I've done that for my whole career.
But your past career, you were involved with firms, correct?
I was. I started out, actually, when I first got out of law school, I started out working with a very large firm, about 175 lawyers.
Whoa.
Down in the state of Florida, and started my career there. So I learned how to turn over every stone and do everything the big law firm way. And then I had the privilege of joining a firm here in Mansfield about 22 years ago now. And I was with that firm for just about 20 years, and a bigger firm than obviously on my own, but about 3 years ago ventured off on my own.
Undergraduate?
I went to Ohio State, graduated from Ohio State, went on to law school at the University of Florida, and that's how I ended up in Florida. Yeah, my family had moved down there in the meantime.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so from somehow you got back here to Mansfield, Ohio?
I did, actually. That's kind of an interesting story, but I had kept in touch with one of my good friends from years and years ago, high school, and he had kind of followed a similar path to me and come back from a large Cleveland law firm to Mansfield, and he started talking to me about coming back to Mansfield, and I thought, gosh, I don't really want to go back to Mansfield. And about 3 months later, I was sitting in Mansfield interviewing for a job with this law firm in Mansfield, and about 6 months later, here I was. So okay. I've been here ever since, yeah.
Extracurricular activities, you're on a board.
I am. I've been on a number of boards over the years. I think, charitable service is a really important part of what, at least for me, what I think I owe to the community, and I hope other professionals do the same. But for the last 12, now 10 years, I guess, I'm in my 10th or 11th year, I've been on the Lexington School Board. Sitting as a board member down there. We have some challenging times right there, and lots of hours, more hours than normal, spending trying to help the schools out. But our district, we've been fortunate, and the folks down there, our staff and our kids are great, and the parents are great. We're very fortunate.
Yeah, excellent school district, quality.
We've been blessed, I think, down there with what we've been able to accomplish.
Let me take a quick break, Jeff. Once again, you're watching I Love My Job. We're talking to Jeff Heck, an attorney at law, and we're talking about personal injury, and we're going to get into the details, the fine parts about that. This is the expert. We're going to get the answers if you stay with us. Hey, once again, I'm Doug Thaker, and you're watching I Love My Job. Our special guest tonight is Jeff Heck. He's an attorney and specialized, am I saying that right, specialized in personal injury? Is that not true?
That's where I focus my practice.
Okay.
I think that's right.
Okay, Jeff, one of the things that I experience, and you do, and everybody else does, is that I see these commercials.
Right.
And they are commercials by law firms that are going to tell me they're going to take care of me. The problem is, well, there's probably many issues, but one of the issues is they're not from Mansfield, Ohio.
That's true. One of the things that I think, at least for me, has always been important is I like to try to support the local community where I can. The great thing about Mansfield, and I think it's one of the things that's maybe underappreciated, is that our legal community is very strong. We have some excellent lawyers here in Mansfield. We have really can provide, I think, a variety of services, not just me, but others who work in different areas. But, I try to pride myself on the fact I've been doing what I've been doing for a long time. I have a lot of experience working in the injury area, for example. One of my particular experiences that I think is maybe a little different than some of the people maybe you see from the other big cities on TV is I actually spent about 15 years of my practice working primarily and very extensively for the insurance industry. So I was actually defending these cases on the other side. So if you were involved in a car accident, for example, and the accident were your fault and you ran into someone and injured them, and eventually a lawsuit was filed against you, I would get hired by your insurance carrier to defend you in that lawsuit. And so that's 15 years of my experience. That's mostly what I was doing. I always handled the other side, the injured person side. But again, most of my work was, at that point in time, focused on the insurance industry. I think for me that brings kind of a unique perspective, and it brings some unique experience because I have a little bit of the inner workings from that experience with the insurance industry, not just one company, but many, many companies. So I kind of know how they work and how they process these cases, how they handle claims, and to a certain extent what they think and how they think about the cases. I think that experience helps me bring a lot to bear on the other side now, where I'm representing the person or the family of the person injured or the person killed. And I think I can use that experience to really help my clients and prepare their case properly and give them the best advice and a lot of times an extremely stressful or very tough time of their lives.
Okay, when we talk about personal injury, again, without getting into the legalese part about that,
Sure.
Laymen such as myself watching, how do you define personal injury?
I think it's just any injury that someone sustains as a result, in the context of the law, any injury that people sustain as a result of the negligence or the act of someone else, where it's someone else's fault. They had an obligation to take a little bit better care and they didn't, and someone gets hurt as a result. That can manifest itself a lot of different ways. You know, obviously you have the car accidents and the truck accidents and the semis and the motorcycles, but you also have situations where people get hurt on someone else's property, or an animal gets loose and may injure someone, bite someone, or do some harm that way. There are workplace injuries. There are products that are defective that can cause someone an injury or even a death or something like that. So it comes in a variety of different situations and circumstances, but basically it's the injury caused by the wrongful or negligent or act that isn't done with the right amount of care towards someone else.
Okay, Jeff, I have an issue. It could be a variety of things, but again, whether it be automobile or a semi-truck or animals or whatever the case may be, how do I approach you? How can I start out? Again, you got to keep in mind, I'm a layman now, and you're kind of distant from me. And I don't mean Jeff Heck, but as an attorney.
No, I understand, and sometimes I think the process can be a little intimidating. The way that many people get to me is either through a personal referral. They know someone who knows me or has an experience with me. That's a very common way that people do it. But I also have a pretty extensive web presence. I have a website that's been very successful in helping clients get information about their injury claims. I try to provide a lot of information on there that isn't just necessarily about me and why you should come see me, but just how things happen in an injury case. And because people have a lot of questions and they don't know. They're dealing with uncertainties in their lives. They may be dealing, as I said, with the stress of the loss of a loved one through a death, or a tragedy, something like that. Or they're dealing with the fact that they can't work, or they're dealing with mounting medical bills and they're getting phone calls from the insurance company. And they find me a variety of ways. They find me through, again, personal referral. My website's a very good way. You may see an advertisement for me running on WMFD right now, working with that. But my website is hecklawoffices.com. It's pretty simple. You get straight to it, and there's a wealth of information on there and contact information for me. Then what we do is we set up an appointment, an initial consultation, if you will. I don't charge for that. What I do is I try to provide people information and some help with their situation so they know maybe where to turn. Sometimes I can help them and I tell them how I can do that. Sometimes it's not quite the right time for me to help them, and I tell them that too. So I try to give them the best advice for their circumstances, given the situation, and we kind of go from there. Usually that's where my my attorney-client relationship begins and develops from there.
Okay, where are you located?
I'm presently in the One Marion building, the Marion One building, which is the five-way light there at Park Avenue West in Bowman and Sturgis.
Okay, you gave us a website, and we're going to go back to that in just a moment. Telephone number, how can we get a hold of you?
My phone number, my office number is 419-524-2700. We have obviously an answering system there as well, and so people can get a hold of me pretty much all the time. The web's a great way to do it too. All of that information is actually on that website, so if people didn't write that number down, they can get it through hecklawoffices.com.
Okay, once again, we're talking to an attorney. We're talking to Jeff Heck, who is a personal injury attorney right here in Mansfield, Ohio. So again, regardless of where you are, North Central Ohio, it doesn't make any difference. The point of it is we're talking about a local attorney that can take care of your issues, concerns, and challenges. We're going to talk more if you come right back with I Love My Job. Jeff Heck is who we're talking to. You're watching I Love My Job. You caught me there with my glasses too far down. Anyway, the point of it is, what we're trying to do is provide you with information that's legalese, and it's very, very important. Jeff, let me approach you from maybe more of a psychological standpoint.
Yes.
And the point of it is, again, this idea of compassion, because we're all intimidated. And I think one of the things that once we overcome that fear of you as an attorney,
right.
The thing we're going to be facing, the possibility is a courtroom. Whoa! Black robes.
And that's a very real concern. And here's what I try to do with folks who come to me. First of all, I try to help them feel like they're getting listened to. Most of the time when they're dealing with an injury situation or a death in their family that's happened because of no fault of their own, it's happened just because of the circumstances, there's a lot of upheaval in their lives anyway. And I think it's very important for lawyers not to just get hung up in the next technicality that we have to deal with, although we have to deal with that. But I think it's very important, and I think one of the things I try to provide, and my staff tries to provide, is a good listening ear and compassion, and trying to be there to really help this family through the uncertainty of all the process you're talking about and the fear and the upheaval. Try to help them get to know me so they know, look, I'm in their corner for them, and it's really my job to help them through that process, and to do that with as much compassion as possible. On the other hand, I also think it's my job and it's my duty, really, as their attorney, to be as forceful and aggressive as I need to be, but not with them. That's not my job. My job is to help them in their tough time, and then it's my job to go represent them as aggressively and zealously and appropriately as I can in the courtroom. Now, the reality is that probably, and I quote this statistic all the time, Doug, and I don't know if it's exactly accurate, but I think it's probably pretty fair. 98% of all of the cases out there that happen, 98% of all the accidents, they don't turn into lawsuits in a courtroom with the judge and the jury. Probably 98% of them settle or resolve or otherwise get worked out before they ever actually are decided by a jury in a courtroom.
Interesting.
So a very small percentage of the cases, and I don't think that's just here in Mansfield, and I don't think it's just with me. It's really all over the country. The vast majority of them get worked out another way. So part of what I see my job is to find the right solutions for those clients. It may be a resolution, a settlement. It may be helping them just move on with their lives with what we can do for them. But it may be, in that small percentage of cases, it may be taking the case to a jury and asking a jury, 8 folks in Richland County, to decide, or the surrounding counties, to decide, what is this case really worth, and how should it be handled properly, and what's a proper decision. Part of my job in that regard, an important part of my job, if we get to that 2%, is to get my client completely prepared. So in an unfamiliar and uncomfortable situation, they can be as comfortable and familiar as they possibly can be.
Good for you.
It's difficult, but I think that's what we kind of bring to bear as an office, and not just me, but my staff as well.
Okay. Let's switch gears with you for just a moment.
Sure.
Let's talk, or have you talk about labor and employment law.
I've been doing labor and employment law really since I got out of law school. I started with a great big firm that I told you about before. Did that work full time. I was in a 12-person employment law department, and we did traditional labor law. We did discrimination type cases, sex harassment, all the variety of different things that come from labor and employment law. I've done that my whole career. I do a significant percentage of that still. My background traditionally has been working for the employers. I represent a lot of companies in this area, do a lot of work for those employers with their employees. But I do, from time to time, in the right situation, I do handle claims of employees when the circumstances dictate and the facts are right. But again, that's a very complicated area. That's a whole subspecialty of the law, and it's an area that I have focused on, have always focused on, and it's something I enjoy, and it's changed a little bit around here over the years with